Okay, many of the things you see today are live and available. However, we are also showing forward-looking items. So please just keep in mind that the times and the details of these items are always subject to change. Okay, without further ado, Patrick, I will hand it over to you to get us started.
Super. Thank you very much, Marissa. So welcome, folks. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. It's always really exciting to see where people are joining from. So we've people from literally every corner of the world, from Germany to Chile, Boston, California, and even someone from Sugarland, Texas. That's somewhere I really want to go and visit after seeing that name. So my name is Patrick Eustace. I'm a go-to-market product lead for our collaboration devices here in Cisco. Today, we're going to spend the next 55 minutes or so speaking to you about how you can start to reimagine your workspace for any meeting platform. So you're going to see some live demos from our engineering and product teams based out of Oslo. We'll bring you through the strategy of deploying these offerings to your workforce and with the benefits that you can gain from such deployments. So as I said, my name is Patrick. You'll also hear from Morten on the call. Morten is our engineering product lead for our MTR solutions. You'll hear from Jamie and Ryan, who are specialists in demoing these solutions to our customers. So really excited to have everyone here, and thank you to the guys for joining us again. So let's start with our agenda. So I'll spend the next 5 minutes or so speaking through what our open platform strategy looks like and why it is crucially important to you and your organization. We'll delve into demos across Microsoft, Zoom, and Google, and how our devices can interop with all three platforms. And then we'll spend some time on our Cisco devices for Microsoft Teams, our MTR solution. Again, you get to see some live demos. And finally, we'll wrap up with management, how to manage these offerings from a single source of truth. We'll talk about offerings and pricing, and then really excited to announce our Microsoft Teams Rooms beta program, which is announced and launched in the last week or so. So without further ado, it is sometimes crazy to think that we have been in this post-COVID world or during COVID world for 3 years now. And with that, it has brought huge change to our workplace and everybody's workplace. It has meant that we have been introduced to a world of hybrid work, and that hybrid work brings a difference, but it also means it's harder than how we have worked in the past. It means we're working with people who are both co-locally, located beside us in an office, or also located remotely or anywhere in the world. And we have to make sure that every individual, both in-house and remote, is as engaged as possible. And I think this bears fruit when we go survey our customers and talk to our partners. 88% of workers are frustrated with in-office experience, but those individuals who work externally or remotely, they're experiencing meeting fatigue. So organizations, customers, partners, institutions are still trying to grapple with what the experience of hybrid work looks like, how we can really emphasize it to our employees. So I'm going to take a pause. Marissa did mention we would ask you some questions as we go through this. So really excited to hear, how many meeting platforms do you use within your organization? So are you using one meeting platform? Are you using 2, 3, 4, or beyond? And this is interesting for us to know, because then this validates some of our proof points in terms of how we develop our solutions for our customers. I'm going to put a vote in here on my side. So let's see what comes through from everyone. So at a very quick glance, straight away we're seeing 60% or so, nearly 70% of people have 2, 3 platforms, 15% 4+. That is telling us straight away that nearly 80 to 85% of organizations are using more than 2 platforms. And it's even more interesting to see that 14% of organizations on this call today have 4+. So you're kind of grappling in a multi-platform environment. What's coming on top, though, is 35% have 2, 31% have 3, and 20% have 1. This actually tallies very nicely with the figures that we've seen. So when we go and survey our customers, our partners, our sales teams, this figure of 85% of organizations supporting 2 or more meeting platforms consistently comes to the foreground. And we have run many of these webinars. We've talked to hundreds of customers around the world. 85% or 80 to 85% tends to be the sweet spot in terms of organizations and the figures that they come back with. So it's very close to what we're seeing from today. So it's another validation of our strategy and another validation of our development progress. So I guess, what does that mean? In the past, room devices maybe have not been built for this multi-platform world. Individuals in organizations had to switch from one meeting platform to the next. They experienced this poor, compromised experience where they were missing key features moving from platform A to platform B. The device itself didn't have the intelligence built in that was just spanned multiple platforms. And then from an IT admin perspective, there was that fragmentation of support for all this multi-platform world. So we've taken all these concerns, these angst, these concerns that customers have, and we've looked to solve these. And you'll see from some of our demos later today how we've solved many of these problems and issues that customers have flagged. So what we'll talk about today is our Room OS experience and then our complementary Teams experience. So we'll start with the Room OS experience. This is the Room OS experience that we all know and love today. It means that we can interop on Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Google Interop, and you'll see some demos from Ryan and Jamie in a few moments. It obviously also means that we have a native Webex meetings experience with third-party apps, and that device is powered by our proprietary Cisco Room OS. And then on the right-hand side, one of our new offerings is our Teams experience, our Microsoft Teams experience. And this means that the device can be registered as a Microsoft Teams experience. However, the real clincher is that we're still getting a native Webex meetings and events experience. So for those with keen eyes in the audience, on the top right-hand corner of the screenshot on the right, you'll see the town hall is actually a Webex event scheduled, and that's appearing as a Webex meeting on our Teams registered device. When we join that town hall, you'll still get a native Webex meetings experience with all the capabilities and features and functionalities that we have developed within the Webex organization. Both these devices are the same device. They're both running Cisco Room OS, and at boot up, at factory reset, you can choose which offering you want to deploy within your organization, whether that be a Room OS experience or a Teams experience. And we'll talk through that in some of our demos in just a few minutes. So without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Morten, who's going to take over the next number of slides. Morten.
Thank you, Patrick. My name is Morten Gunnerud. I'm a solution lead product manager for Microsoft Teams Rooms here in Oslo. I'm going to show you and talk a bit about our different solutions for interop and also Microsoft Teams Rooms in the end here as well. First of all, I wanted to talk to you all about Room OS 11. Room OS 11 is anyway the platform that is powering the experience that you see on our devices. And Room OS is so much more than just providing good meeting experiences. It's a hybrid work platform, as we like to call it. So it's supposed to be there to provide or make you more productive in your hybrid work everyday life. That means that it's open, so it can run Webex and other third-party apps on the device. It's inclusive and secure, and is also manageable through Control Hub, our device management portal. And all our devices are built in with powerful sensors. That means that you can get a lot of data from your workspace that you can leverage. And our devices are built to be scalable and easy to maintain from an IT admin setting. So our devices are built with a few key principles in mind. First of all, they're supposed to be open and extensible to support how you work. That means that you should be able to join any meeting. If it's a Webex, Teams, Google, Zoom meeting, you will have intelligent features that will enhance that experience. And you can bring your content from your content sources or even apps, third-party apps, into that meeting. And as I mentioned, they are supposed to be easy to manage, and we have one of the most comprehensive management solutions in the industry to support our devices. So on our devices, you can join Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, Zoom, all through a single button to push on the home screen on your Room OS device. In addition to this, if you would like to do a FaceTime meeting or another third-party meeting, you can simply leverage the USB-C connection to the device and leverage your camera, speakers, microphones, etc. on the device to run that meeting. But not only that, as I mentioned, productivity is much more than just meetings. So we have built in the possibility to use third-party web apps so that you can use Miro, Mural, AppSpace etc., directly on the device, either outside of a meeting, collaborating with your colleagues locally, or also bring those apps into a meeting. And with that, I'll hand it over to Ryan, which will show our first demo to you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Morten. So good day to all. So I cover all time zones and regions of the world. My name is Ryan Kaplan, one of the two presenters based in Oslo, and Jamie, who you'll meet in just a few seconds on the screens. But just to bring some of these slides and images to life, right? And to show you that they're not just concept photos or anything like that. That's where myself and Jamie come in, because starting with Microsoft Teams, and as Morten was saying, we can really simplify the entire join meeting process just by kind of condensing the experience into walking into this room. And as I zoom into you, would I walk in and am welcomed by the table navigator? As we can see, I have my options to always join in an ad hoc fashion. So Webex, Google Meet, Zoom, Microsoft Teams. So for Microsoft Teams, yes, I could press that reference and invite and start dialing into kind of my meeting. But again, to simplify this whole process, rather than making this a two-step process, I walk in the room, sit down, press my green button, and as I pan out, it kind of just jumps me right into that meeting. And in this case, right, we have Jamie on one screen, we have myself on another device, just to show you that we can deliver dual screen experience, and also that we're not playing tricks, right? This is not a still image, that this is a live image behind me as well. And on top of that, if content gets shared into the meeting as well, we can maintain leveraging of both the screens and deliver a really, really nice experience. So with content in the call, we have participants on the left, content on the right, with a really good vision into everything and everybody in the call. And overall, again, that really nice experience within this meeting space. Just to kind of really clarify, just to enable that dual screen experience as well, it is referred to within the Cisco world as a VIMT, which is short for Video Interrupt for Microsoft Teams. Others may recognize and know this as CVI, or Cloud Video Interrupt. Either way, that's what's enabling this dual screen experience. And again, the leveraging of everything that I have in terms of components and screens in this space. So it's short, simple, and there will be more of that. But for now, Morten, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you, Ryan. So what Ryan and Jamie showed us here was what we call the video integration for Microsoft Teams. So basically how you can join a Microsoft Teams meeting from a Cisco Room OS device. Super easy to join via one button to push or entering meeting ID. You get this multi-screen HD experience, and you have the possibility to change layouts, view rosters, etc. But it does also require a VIMT license to host that in your environment. So if you're looking for something to interrupt with Microsoft Teams without having a license, then we also support a direct guest join or WebRTC solution for interrupting with Microsoft Teams. There's no license required. Still, you get the same easy to join, one button to push experience, and that's great if you have the sort of time by time need to join a Microsoft Teams meeting as a guest. And with that, I'll pass it back on to you, Ryan.
All right, fantastic. So thanks again. And the next kind of platform we wanted to touch on was Zoom, right? And so the good news here is what I was referring to now, or in the previous demo with that kind of one button to push. In that sense, it's almost copy and paste. So you don't have to hear me repeat myself over and over and over again, because it is as simple as walking into the room and again seeing that, oops, that's the wrong button. Rather than cutting my video, I want to show you a bit more detail here. So as I kind of zoom back in, right, and that's our kind of zoom button. The only change here, and the only thing I wanted to focus, is the changing of that kind of logo association per the platform, right? So before you're seeing the Microsoft Teams logo, now we see this really nice and clean Zoom logo. That's a really clear indicator for me as an end user. But all else is the same. I can hit join, pan back out, and again, we get this really nice experience. The only change here is my meeting settings, where I simply just need to admit myself. So there we go. And as we jump in, and I am muted, so you don't have to hear me twice. You have to see me twice already, so I apologize for that. But one other thing I wanted to touch on here is, first of all, as Jamie kind of shares in content, because right now the only change before was kind of losing out on one screen. But when we do have content in these calls and we do have two screens in the environment, we can still take advantage of all the screens in our space. So that's a really key thing to kind of touch on and make sure that when there is content being shared, again, we have a really nice overview of everything going on within the room. But the other thing I wanted to touch on is actually the navigator on the table, because for those of you who are quite keen-eyed, you might have noticed a different layout from kind of the pan-out view. But as I kind of zoom in, we see much more kind of familiar view, especially for those of you who are much more familiar with Zoom and the UI that Zoom kind of delivers. And we can deliver that same or similar UI on the table navigators here. So no need to kind of hit star, command, anything, right? We can jump right in. We have a really nice view. And you also have things like host options from the navigator in the space as well. So we're really kind of alleviating all those kind of interim solutions and kind of macro type or macro based solutions if need be. And again, it makes things feel all the more kind of native, if you will, within the Zoom environment using Cisco devices. So again, Morten, I will pass back to you.
Thank you, Ryan. So what Ryan showed here is our Zoom video interrupt. And as you might have seen, it's a bit different from what you see in a Microsoft Teams experience. However, we do sort of strive ourselves to create sort of or the same meeting join experience, create a familiar UI towards the end user so that they don't get lost on the device. And as you saw on the navigator there, is something that is super easy to navigate and to understand. This is based on a zip interrupt, so it's quite different in that sense. And it supports these Zoom DTMF commands in call so that you can do things like manage layouts and do host controls, etc. And as Ryan showed, you get this dual screen experience when sharing content as well. And just sort of show a bit how far we've come along on this interrupt with Zoom. What you see on the left side here is something that might be familiar to some of you if you have previous experience with Cisco devices. This is a macro-based UI that enables you to control Zoom meetings on a Cisco device. That's what was built in on our devices previously. So what we've done is clean this up, make the UI much more comprehensive and understandable for end users. And now you get a very much more understandable and user-friendly way of joining Zoom meetings. So now we've covered Microsoft Teams interrupt, Zoom interrupt, but let's hear something or how we do interrupt towards Google. So Jamie, could you show us that?
Absolutely, I can, Morten. And if you guys would like to join me over here with my friend, the Board Pro 55, let's shake this up a little bit, make it not so it's just one meeting on there or the whole time. Obviously, it is still one button to press. But what I want to draw your attention here quickly before we jump onto this call is just how consistent that look and feel is, regardless of the meeting platform. You imagine your sort of top exec having to jump from meeting to meeting, one after the other, platform to platform. Giving a really concise and easy joining experience is absolutely integral to success. And like you can see, it doesn't matter if it's Google, Zoom, Webex, or Teams. I'm going to get that real familiar approach in every stage. But for now, let's jump into Google, because there's a few things which we wanted to tell you about this as well. There's some really nice features, one in particular that Morten mentioned before, which is obviously being able to connect to these devices really via any means. So what Ryan is going to do is actually he's connected via the USB-C so that he can pull all of the power from this device. What do I mean by that? The cameras with the intelligence that comes with them, the speakers, the screens, and really everything about the situation to give him a fantastic experience. And it looks like he's actually joined from one of our desk devices. So Ryan, well, you can wave to the camera if you like, just to let people know that we are on the call. But guys, look, I could spend a lot more time complicating it, but really that's how it should be. One button, press, join, good times. Back to you, Morten.
Thank you, Jamie. So the Google interrupt is based on WebRTC technology, the same that you saw or would have seen if we did the direct guest join with Microsoft Teams based on the same technology. We do have worked together with Google to enhance this experience together so that we can provide a great WebEx experience on Google devices and Google experience on WebEx devices. Still, you get the same easy to join, one button to push on the device, as we've now seen a couple of times. You get layouts, name labels, and content sharing, etc. from Google, and you're able to control the device in the meeting as well. So if you're among the 80 to 85% joining us today that do use several meeting platforms, to enable these experiences on your Cisco devices, all you have to do is to go into Control Hub, click on the devices pane, and choose settings and enable these interoperability settings. So that's for all room, board, and desk series. You can get WebRTC for Google Meet. You get that Microsoft Teams CVI connection if you have a CVI license, and you can enable Zoom interop. But as I mentioned initially, productivity isn't just about great video meetings, but to help you be more productive, we are also building in powerful embedded apps into the devices. So Jamie, can you show us?
Absolutely, I can, Morten. I'd be more than happy to, because this really, for me, is my absolute favorite part of RoomOS 11. Sure, we've been able to call into different platforms for quite a while. We've been leading this conversation for a while now, I'd say, but really connecting to a call, that's one thing. That's, in my opinion, and I'm not very sciencey, but in my opinion, that's sort of interconnectivity. Can we connect into these calls? True interoperability is what happens when you get there. Can you feel a part of this process when you're in these systems? So, for instance, let's just jump straight into it. Now, I am a big fan of WebEx's whiteboard. It is a really, really cool tool, and especially with the new updated web version of the whiteboard, we have a lot of room to play with. Look, we've got these fantastic touchscreen devices sitting in our pockets. We've had them for a while. Now we can utilize these things for collaboration wherever we want. And really, actually, it doesn't even stop there. If we go to save these boards even here, we're given an option to save directly into my OneDrive account. What's really cool about this is this saves it as a live PDF. What that means is when I send this link to you, you open it up, you see what I've been working on. I go back into that board and tell you how much of a great day I've been having and draw a smiley face. That change is then automatically put into that PDF. So you're always working from a single source of truth. Even when I'm using a Cisco device on a WebEx whiteboard, I can still interoperate. But that really is only the very beginning of it. Now, RoomOS 11 in general has given us some fantastic capabilities for things like multitasking as well, which is what you saw when I went there. I swipe up and I've just got access to all of my currently running apps. And there's a little bit of a giveaway. You saw some of the stuff that I wanted to show you, because past that first page, we've been through this. This is old news now. All these fantastic ways of jumping into these calls ad hoc, great. But let's take this out a little bit with some stuff that really exists a little bit further outside of the WebEx atmosphere. Because, look, I'll use myself as an example. I use Photoshop every single day. It's what I use. Now, if you were to tell me, nope, you've got to stop that, you've got to start using GIMP, that's what we use, so that's what you're going to use, you'd push back, you'd feel uncomfortable. At the very least, you're not going to get the best out of me. And that's exactly how we've taken this approach as well, because really at the core of this is how our devices need to adapt to your work style, not the other way around. So with that in mind, maybe you don't want to use the WebEx whiteboard. Maybe you've standardized on something else already and you don't want to shift. Maybe you've used Miro, for instance. We'll continue to use Miro. We are not going to stop you. Or perhaps you are one of those sort of real diehard Microsoft users and you really like that sort of rainbowy pen that they get on their whiteboard. Hey, use that as well. We are not going to stop you. And of course, this is Microsoft, so we've actually got the whole of the Microsoft Office at our disposal. Any one of these could be their own web apps. If I had that personal mode like I had before, I could have one folder for all of my PowerPoints where I just upload them into there and then I've instantly got access to them on a touchscreen device. As well as that, it's not just whiteboards where you're getting some productivity. These are touchscreen devices at their core, so when they're not in use, why not use a kiosk? Why not use that touch thing to help your customers, help your users get through to where they need to? In this case, we've got a sort of simple SIP dialing thing because at its core, it is a video conferencing machine. Why not use that to alleviate some of the stress that can be caused by coordination, instead giving these nice signposts in place? Now, obviously, this is a bot. We're not going to be spending too much time with this one because she talks a lot but doesn't really say much, as you can not really hear. But let's jump out and really just show you one final bit about this, because also we want to be able to share, right? Sometimes we just want to come into these rooms and share. And whilst this kind of exists a tiny little bit outside of the web app zone, I really think it needs to have attention brought to it, because obviously there are tremendous benefits that we can derive from a 9-meter long active fiber optic cable. But really, connectivity is about simplicity. And what could be more simple than having this up there? Connecting to these devices simply by using AirPlay. Again, I told you we've got these devices sitting in our pockets. Why not use them for productivity? And yes, for the throngs of Windows users and Android users who are saying, well, that's great, but what about me? Miracast has you as well. So really, however you want to collaborate, these are going to be there to help you do that. I think that's about all I can fit into that time. So I'm going to pass it back to the team.
Great, Jamie, thanks so much for that. Just speaks to sort of the flexibility that you get on these devices. As I've mentioned a few times now, and what Jamie just showed you really speaks to that our mission here at Cisco is to provide you with the tools that you need to be productive in your hybrid work everyday life. Now, we've spoken a lot of the experience that you see on the left-hand side here. I would expect that at least some of you guys joining here today are also interested in what you can see on the right-hand side here, which is our new coming native Microsoft Teams experience. So we announced this together with Microsoft at Ignite in October last year, and we have been working tirelessly on getting these devices to market since then. As Patrick mentioned initially, though, this is not a new product offering as such. It will simply be a software upgrade or coming over there to customers that have our devices already. So there's no new devices as such. It's a new capability on our existing device portfolio. And I'll cover the devices in particular a bit later on here as well. So what does this mean to customers? Well, we've teamed up together with Microsoft to provide more customer value and more flexibility to customers. That means that you will be able to leverage Microsoft Teams together with value adds from Webex. Like you've seen polling being used in this meeting today. You can use that together with Microsoft Teams as well. You can incorporate that into your presentations in the Microsoft Teams meeting. You have Webex Contact Center, you obviously have our devices, you have Webex calling, meetings, events, and webinars that can complement the Microsoft Teams solutions as well. So what do you get with Cisco devices for Microsoft Teams? Well, you get the possibility to reimagine your workspaces. Cisco has a broad range of devices that will fit into basically any meeting room out there. In addition to that, we give you freedom of choice. So if you support 2 or more meeting platforms, chances are that 2 of those are Microsoft and Webex. Cisco devices running Microsoft Teams will be able to join both native Microsoft Teams meetings and native Webex meetings on the same device without any form of reconfiguration, rebooting, or factory resetting, and we'll actually show you that in a few minutes. In addition to that, you get all the intelligence that we have built into our devices, also available in native Microsoft Teams experience. So you get things like optimized for my voice, noise removal, you get frames, camera intelligence, and etc. in order to elevate your meeting experience in the Microsoft Teams meeting. In addition to this, we also built this solution into our Control Hub management platform, which means that together with Teams Admin Center, Control Hub can give you insight into your Microsoft Teams Cisco devices to provide you ease of management and give you analytics with regards to sensors, etc. So Cisco devices bring the full value of Microsoft Teams and Webex to any workspace. And these are the devices that we are certifying. So I'll start from the left here with the RoomKit Pro. That's a kit that we build for larger meeting rooms. It has a vast number of inputs and outputs in order to be flexible to fit into large classrooms, auditoriums, etc., and provide a great meeting experience there. You've seen a lot of our Board Pro today. That's a great collaboration board, but also a great meeting room device for medium meeting rooms. Our Room Bar is a small all-in-one video bar that fits into huddle spaces and small meeting rooms. And all of these three devices that I mentioned now, we are aiming to certify those within Q1. So any day now. In addition to that, we announced at Webex One last year the RoomKit EQ, which is the next generation of codecs, and that will be certified in mid 2023. In addition to this, we have the Desk Pro, our premium 27-inch 4K all-in-one personal video endpoint that will support the Microsoft Teams display experience. And you have our room navigators, which in addition to being paired as a touch console to all the bars and codecs that you've seen on the left side here, will also be able to run Microsoft Teams panel as a room scheduler outside of a meeting room. But that's now enough of talk about the Microsoft Teams rooms experience. Jamie, can you just show us a bit how it looks in real life?
Morten, I would love to, because really that's what this is about, putting this proof to the pudding. And in this sense, look, again, I could spend a lot of time making this a really complex sort of talk through, wouldn't it be great if, but really what we want is simplicity. For those Teams users, for those Webex users, for anyone using our devices. We don't specify, we just want simplicity. So, for instance, I want to walk into a room, I can see I've got a Teams meeting, I want to join my Teams meeting. That's really what it should be, right? Just that nice, easy, quick joining experience. And then for me, as an end user, let me just make sure I've actually got all of my volume, because the guys are going to show you something that we can take along for the ride with in our Teams meetings. But as a Teams user, I've got this really nice familiar interface. I'm used to using this. It's not like I have to learn anything new. However, because this is obviously a Cisco device, there is some tremendous added value in the form of that right swipe. So if I swipe in, this is available in call, out of call, wherever you are. And this is how we get very quick access to a lot of intelligent features. Things like the noise removal from our microphones, which we have various different options to suit the specification that you're in. Or when it comes to cameras, we have all of these options available to you. These have been cooked into the device. These are not Webex specific. So you will have your group modes, your frame modes, your speaker tracking. That comes along for the ride with you in your Teams meetings, in your Microsoft Teams rooms as well. And that is absolutely fantastic. But you know what, at the risk of getting close to inception in demos, we're going to now see a video of a video. No, I'm joking. We're just going to show you some of these features, because look, it's one thing to say that we can do this stuff, but as you know, that's why you're here. You want to see this stuff in action. So I'm going to make sure that my volume is up as high as possible. And let's hear from Ryan.
All right, fantastic. Thanks, Jamie. And so, yeah, I'm joined also by Henri, who some of you out there may know or recognize from other demos in the past. But yeah, we just really wanted to quickly run through and again, just bring to life some of the stuff that in this case, Jamie was referring to in terms of hardware-based features that you can leverage regardless of platform. And the first being with the view, some of the layouts and the camera settings that we have. So right now we have this nice group setting where, of course, it gives you a really nice overview of everybody in the space. But we also can take it a step further with a new feature we call frames. And if I enable that right now, what we see, right, is almost the best of both worlds with that best overview. But if some of you are familiar with in the past with things like speaker track type of experience, this kind of touches into that a bit, where you can maintain, like I said in the beginning, really good overview and vision to, in this case, everybody in this space, but it's also intelligent. So we can see where Anne-Marie kind of stands up, right? It will hopefully pick her up again. And if she comes over to me, there we go. And if I say, hey, Anne-Marie, come take a look at some of these notes that I was taking on my laptop. And right, we can kind of review, but it's also intelligent. It's not going to kind of make duplicate views of all of us in the same space. And then as Anne-Marie kind of moves back across the room, and then she'll settle back in, and the camera will pick her up, as soon as she gets picked up again, and therefore we can recreate those frames. And really quickly, right, maintaining context within the room, we're able to kind of look at each other, and not only physically in the room, we're maintaining eye contact, but for you, when it does create those frames, it doesn't create this situation where we're both looking at each other in the room, but for all of you on the far end, it looks a bit silly. So context is important, and the only thing that we could argue is more important than the view you have of us is the audio that comes along with it. So things like the noise cancellation intelligence, and right now I'm just double checking, I think I had turned it off. So things like rolling this around the table, making a lot of noise, and sirens as well becomes really distracting in meetings. But what I can do is just re-enable my noise removal and just take all this noise right back out of our meetings as well. So making sure, right, we can focus on why we came here in the first place, to collaborate, to discuss, and not take away from the meeting like, oh, I'm so sorry, that's something that's out of my control in some other place. No, we can just focus on and let the technology take care of the other factors that may not pertain to our rooms. So Jamie, I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you, Marissa. I'll say goodbye, and we shall see you very shortly. And the reason that we're going to see him very, very shortly is the other thing that makes this so special. Now, I would wager that some of you are using other devices to use your Teams rooms. And as you well know, if you then wanted to, say, bring in another platform to the equation, well, you're going to have to manually restart the device, re-enable it, and reconfigure it so it can then work natively in another platform. That's not very friendly to an end user. And again, we really want to make sure that you are having a simple time when you get into these meetings. We don't want your head to be focusing on things which aren't pertaining to the reason why you're there. So in that case, we want, just like you saw with the Zoom UI, we want as close to a native experience as absolutely possible. Or in every other case, in this case specifically, actually, we want the native experience. And what that means is I've got my Teams meeting. I've also got a Webex meeting here. So what am I going to do? I mean, this is bordering on not rocket science at this point. I think I'm not even going to put a Slido poll out there for you to guess what it is that I might do at this stage. Because, well, it's one button to press, isn't it? I want one button that makes me join into a meeting and gets me into a meeting. So why not have that in here? And join a meeting like that. Well, that's exactly what we do. Of course it is. And of course, you've noticed something here as well. Before I jump into this, no, I'm not the host, so I will let the host admit me. Something you've noticed here as well. This is not the Microsoft Teams UI. This is the native Webex UI. And this is a true industry first. We've given two concurrent platforms on the same device, giving you a completely native experience on the same device with no reconfigurations. And yeah, as you know, you're in a Webex to Webex call now, so there's even more stuff that we can bring to the table at this stage. But just to show you guys that that is in fact right, we'll say goodbye to Ryan for now. Join us for another demo to see Ryan again. But yeah, just to double down for the final time before I hand back to Morten and team to round this off, that third and final amazing aspect of these is that management story. Being able to manage all of these Cisco devices, regardless of the operating mode, from one central place. Really putting simplicity across the board from end user all the way through to integrators. And that's really what the Cisco experience is about. Anyway, Morten, I saw you unmute, and that was good timing because I'm going to pass back to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Jamie and Ryan, rock stars of the Oslo CXC. I might sound like a broken record here, just repeating what Jamie and Ryan have been saying in a slightly poorer way. But anyway, I'll give it a shot. So what you saw here was the familiar Microsoft Teams experience running on a Cisco Board Pro 55. So you were able to run a Microsoft Teams Rooms experience just the way you expect a Microsoft Teams Room experience to be like. But in addition to that, you get some additional value adds from Cisco. So you get the device intelligence, the camera and audio intelligence that we've shown you. In addition to that, you also get fully featured Webex meetings. As a simple button to push, you can just jump back to back meetings between Webex and Microsoft Teams seamlessly, and they're both natively uncompromised meeting experiences. So with that, I'll hand it back over to you, Patrick. And you're still muted, Patrick.
Should be off mute now. Okay, thanks, Martin. So Ryan and Jamie, thank you very much as always for some fantastic demos. I think a couple of key things to take away from that. I think Martin made a great call out. Collaboration is not just about fantastic video. There's more to it than that. There's whiteboarding, there's third-party apps. You can see that we as an organization, our strategy has been to bring everything to the table. We're also building a solution and a product solution that allows your end users to simply join the meetings and platforms that they need to join to in order to get their work done. So an important question we have then is, how important is that for you within your organization? How is it important to be able to join back-to-back meetings across different platforms? So for your end users to walk into meeting rooms, join a Webex meeting one day, join a Teams meeting the next hour, Google meeting the next morning, and so on. So we'd love to hear how important that is to your organization. And I'm going to send a vote in here and see what the results are. So 61% are saying it's important, 25% mission critical, and 14%, 13% nice to have, and 1% not important. So I think this is very reflective of the previous poll where we asked how many platforms you're using. And I think it's fair to say that if you're using multiple platforms within your organization, then you will need to have a solution such as what we're offering today. And as Jamie called out, and as Ryan called out, this is not a solution which requires you to reboot your device. It's automatic, it's built in. Your end users can simply walk up to a board, to a desk device, and join the meeting that they need to join in order to get their work done. So some fantastic demos from the guys. I think a great call out as well is that end user experience and the device capabilities like noise cancellation and framing is available across all these platforms as well. So great demos, and thank you guys for that. So continuing the theme of Teams certified products from our group, late last year we announced our desk camera certification has been achieved. So that is available on the store. We're delighted to announce our headset 320 series has been added. And this is a headset which is available in both dual and mono configurations with an inline Microsoft Teams button. That has been added to the certification program. And coming soon in this quarter, this calendar year, we will have this headset 720, a Bluetooth mono or dual device added to the certification program. So extending the reach capabilities for those users who are using multiple meeting platforms, and especially those customers who are using Teams and want to avail of our fantastic world-leading devices. So let's look at the bigger picture here for just a moment. So it was great to see the in-detail demos from the guys. But we as organizations, as customers, as partners, we need to understand how we can manage all these devices, how we can ensure that all our users, all our employees are as engaged as possible, they're on the best products, and they're getting their work done as efficiently as they can do. So we've all recognized this. Hybrid work has complicated manageability infinitely. It has increased the workload on our IT admins. It has meant that we're now managing multiple sites. And I think Morten mentioned this already. We have a leading collab control hub platform which allows you to gain that visibility into the end users and the behaviors of your end users. Hybrid work has increased the network demand across our organizations. We have more individuals who work remotely and offsite, hence the need for bandwidth requirements has grown. We have more complex facility deployments We're no longer simply walking into cubicles and offices. We're walking into open plan office spaces. We're walking into meeting rooms which have multiple use cases. We need to ensure that we're managing employee density and sustainability. And then finally, and most importantly, we all work from home in some instances. The home has now become an extension of the office place. So we have moved from maybe double-digit office spaces to hundreds, if not thousands of office spaces when we consider the home office as an extension of the environment. And we need to manage all that, and we need to manage that in a remote setting. And with that, Control Hub allows you to manage your cloud devices from a single source of truth. It allows you to automate user onboarding. It allows you to gain insights from stats and diagnostics from your devices, allowing you then to make business critical insights and decisions. It gives you insights to health and security, the environmental sensors in our devices, which we'll touch on in just a moment. And again, as Martin mentioned, it is giving you an extensive cloud API access to extend the capabilities of our devices. And Control Hub can be used in conjunction with Microsoft Teams Admin Center for those organizations who are deploying our devices in MTR modes. I mentioned sensor and data. So all our devices have inbuilt environmental sensors. And from that then, using our API and our tools, we can gain insights to people count, background noise. You saw that example from Ryan earlier today. We can gain insights from environment, so I can quickly understand the air quality, the temperature, humidity, and light within my setting. And again, we can make decisions based on that. We can aggregate all that information up then into a platform our colleagues have developed called Cisco Spaces. So this is an example of a live view from Meraki San Fran office. I can decide in the morning time, if I'm heading into the Meraki office, what the capacity is like within that office. Are there free meeting rooms? What's the air quality like if I'm looking at it from an environmental perspective? And I can make decisions in terms of, before I leave my home office, I can make decisions as to what I need to do when I arrive into the office. We have this set up, for example, in Penn One office in New York. When you arrive into the office, you're faced with a large Webex Board Pro. And from there, you can understand which rooms are free, and you can navigate to those rooms based on the availability and the occupancy rates. Again, all our sensors from our devices are aggregating up, and that's not just across our collaboration devices, that's across our Meraki devices, our IP cameras, and so on. And that DNS, our Cisco Spaces, is aggregating all that information into the view that you see here today. So let's touch on pricing very quickly. So we have an offer within our organization called the Webex Device Cloud Promotion Offer, or Cloud Promo Offer. You can see the recommended end customer the recommended end customer price at the very bottom in gray. So for example, the room bar at $3,795. If you avail of the cloud promo, there's a significant discount on all these products. And how do you avail of the device promo offer? It means that you have a new or existing Webex subscription. So you have a Webex Suite EA, a Webex Suite named user, or a Webex Suite active user. And I would encourage you to talk to your account teams, talk to your Cisco representatives, or talk to your partners about these offers. But there is significant savings to be made, in particular if you're equipping out a large organization with a number of these products. So you can see the savings on screen here. We'll talk through an example in the next slide in terms of where there is savings to be made in terms of deploying Microsoft Teams devices. So looking at a 3-year illustration, I think some of the feedback from our previous webinars has been to kind of spell this out a bit more. On the right-hand side, we have 2 examples of purchasing 30 Cisco room bar devices without Flex support, without any Webex subscription, a cost of $139,000, an additional cost of $159,000 with added Control Hub licenses. But if we actually flip to the left-hand side, and if you purchase our devices for Microsoft Teams with a minimum Webex Flex deal, you'll still get your 30 Cisco room bars, you'll still get your 3-year SmartNet support, and you'll also get 3 years 40 active user Webex Flex licensing. But because you're getting a Webex Flex licensing, you're availing of the cloud promo pricing, which reduces the overall cost to approximately $90,000. So this is an example of where our Webex Flex offering gives you access to cloud promo pricing, which reduces your overall cost for your solution. So again, speaking to your customers, speaking to your partners, speaking to your Cisco account teams, have that discussion about a minimum Flex offer for when purchasing our devices, either for Microsoft Teams Room solutions or simply our Cisco Webex solutions also. If you are buying our devices for Microsoft Teams rooms, you will need a Microsoft Teams Pro license, which is to be purchased directly from Microsoft. Delighted to announce over the last week or so, we have opened our external beta program. So something to bookmark, beta.webex.com. We have the Board Pro now supported in beta. So for those on the call who have a Board Pro in their office, in their labs and so on, you will be able to start your trials in beta for MTR. And we will be adding the Room Bar and the Kit Pro in February. So when you land on beta.webex.com, just navigate to the Cisco devices for Microsoft Teams beta channel. And from there, you can subscribe. Even if you don't have a Board Pro, you can still subscribe today, and it will be announced when we'll have the Room Bar or the Kit Pro added in February. You must have a relevant device, obviously, and a Webex org to start that enrollment, but beta.webex.com will walk you through those steps. So coming to the end now, we'd love to get some feedback on this webinar. So one last poll to add to this. As I mentioned, we have made some tweaks and adjustments to these webinars based on your feedback, so they are really, really important to us. I want to thank my colleagues for the brilliant presentations, the Q&A managers who've helped us out in the background as well, answering your questions. And I want to thank everyone for joining. We hope this was helpful. There will be more webinars to come, and Marissa will touch on that in just a moment. But for now, if you can please add your feedback to this Slido poll. And finally, one last thing to close out on. The next steps for you is to reach out to your account team, reach out to your partner organization, connect with our team. There's a lot more information. We've a lot more information on cs.co/interoperability, where you can learn about our Cisco devices, both for interop and our Microsoft Teams Room devices. And an important call out, the next 2 weeks are a busy time for us. We're at Cisco Live at the start of February, and next week we're at ISE in Barcelona from the 21st of January to the 31st of January to the 3rd of February. At both these trade shows, you'll see in-person live demos of everything that you've seen here today. So if you want to come up and talk to me, Morton, Charlie, there's a number of us on the call who will be at both of these sessions over the next 2 weeks. We would love to talk to you in person, and we would love to demo these solutions for you in person also. So without further ado, thank you very much, and I will pass back to Marissa.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Patrick. That's such a great session. I always love seeing all of the demos and getting a little bit more detail about some of these things. So just to repeat what Patrick said, please take some time to fill out the survey while we have you. Let us know your thoughts and if there's anything you liked or disliked about the session or thought we could do better. Just to answer the questions that you might have, we will be sending a recording of this, and we will include any links that you saw today. That will be coming via email in the next day or so. It will include the QR code we have on this page, as well as the beta link, a link to our Cisco devices page as well. Okay. I'm going to go to the next slide. And then if for any reason you misplaced that, or you just love this so much that you want to go learn about more topics that we do have an on-demand webinar page. So you just go to webex.com, go to the resources tab. You will see a big on-demand box there. You can find this recording and others as well. So please go take a look at that. One last thing, one final reminder, fill out the survey. And then we will be staying on a few minutes here just to let you do that. Probably just maybe two extra minutes. So please do that now. And then thank you so much. Thank you for attending. Thank you for your time. We hope to talk to you again soon.
Thank you.